You said you feel strongly about what God is telling you. You feel so strong in your heart, this is something you should do. But what happens when all the people you went to for counsel are saying no? And you brought it to even, like you said, people in your family, people close to you. It's like, nah, you shouldn't do this. But you feel strongly you should. This is the crazy part, bro. Sometimes God will send people to give you counsel that you don't want counseling from. Like you wanted this person to validate the plans. You wanted this person to speak on that. You wanted this person to say, yes, go for that. I'm so proud of you. And what happens is, again, provision is not always your preference. And so you preferred this person to validate the plans. But here comes someone confirming what God is saying, but that's not who you want to hear from. So then you have to humble yourself. God's never going to leave you out just fending for yourself. Again, God is the same today, yesterday, and forever. So He's always going to give you confirmation. And so if you feel like these people aren't confirming the plans, don't let that discourage you. There may be a bias involved at home. Sometimes family is so concerned about you that they forget that also God is doing something in your life. So sometimes it's harder for them to affirm certain things because they're afraid. Then there's people that, as crazy as it sounds, can be jealous or envious. And because it didn't happen for them, now here you come saying the same things that they used to say, that you're believing God and you have all this faith for this to happen. And in their mind, they don't even know it's jealousy or envy, but they'll say things like, hey, like, you shouldn't do that because, I went through that before and I had to learn the hard way. It's like, what you went through was what you went through based off the circumstance that you were in. To avoid that, that's why I'm trying to get the counsel. That's why I'm trying to do it the right way. But again, certain people can't see past that. Like I've had people cheerlead me on, but the moment I say something that sounds way too big, and it's not something that they've experienced, they kind of go, oh, Al, like aim a little lower, like you don't want to go too high. But the beauty in following God, even when the people you want to validate the plans don't, is that when they see God move, you make believers out of skeptics. And so eventually, you have to know eventually. I'm not saying it's a promise, no guarantee, but sometimes they come around and end up celebrating you. But here's the thing, let me finish with this. That's not the point. You cannot be following God, trying to see God move in your life to prove them wrong. This is not about proving nobody wrong. Like if there's anything I would say, we have nothing to prove. It's not about them. It's about getting to know His voice for ourselves. And we have a walk for ourselves. So when home base isn't affirming the plans, God will send someone or people to say other things. And then that gets tricky because sometimes home base don't want you listening to so-and-so and them. You got to follow God. That's why Jesus said, He said, listen, if you don't hate your mother and father, meaning if you don't hold them to a lesser regard than me, when I speak, you're not going to be able to be my follower. You're too tied down to what mom and dad keep saying, or your bros or your sis, and I'm like, when God speaks, you're too crippled. You're too busy trying to please them and do what they want you to do. But you got to be bold.